Hi guys, I had another encounter I wanted to share with you. I usually try not to put encounters out so fast. I try to do once weekly, but I found one that really sounds a lot like the main encounter of the people that were trapped in their house that I did. Uh, Except for this one takes place in Ohio. Uh, the date that I found is going to be August 21st, 1988. Moon phase is a waxing gibbous again, almost a full moon. Seems the waxing gibbous seems to be pretty common in attacks. It's starting to show a routine that I'm starting to notice. Uh, I didn't want to say that in the earlier videos, but the more and more we do this, the more and more I'm starting to see waxing gibbous to full moon or around that area. So, anyways, to get more to the story, and I apologize for the allergies. They've been really bad here lately. It's been 70 degrees. We've been fishing, and now we got snow coming Friday, so kind of weird weather here in Oklahoma. But Herbert Caton, he was cleaning up out around his house by a pit that was out by his house. Now, the location is going to be west of Minerva proper on Lincoln Street, southeast, just off of US Route 30. It's in Ohio. It's going to be the actual township of Stark County, Ohio, Paris. So, Herbert had cleaned out an area near a deep pit over by his house. And while he had cleaned out everything and had done a lot of work around the house, cleaning and getting everything filled, and trying to make sure the house and property looked good, he threw some garbage off in this really deep pit. A few days later, his grandchildren were out playing with some friends of theirs, and they come busting into the house screaming that there's a creature out in this pit. And they're saying they see this large, hairy creature. Well, they all think that it's going to be some kind of hermit guy or mountain man or something like that's their first thought. So, just to kind of show you, there's more than one witness to this. It was Hal Caton, his mother Evelyn Caton, and her daughter Vicky Keck was her name. They went outside to investigate. They noted that the dogs were having a large fit. They were acting almost berserk, going wild. They were chained to the trees, so they weren't able to go out to where the creature was at. They said they walked up the hill, and as they approached the pit, they seen a very hairy, thick-haired animal inside of the pit. They said it was approximately 7 foot tall, 300 pounds. They said it was rummaging through the garbage and debris that he had thrown into the pit. Been pretty loud about it, just like thrashing through it. They all, of course, ran back down the hill and back into the house. A few days later, Evelyn saw the creature again. This time, it was picking through the garbage again. She noted that the creature was bipedal and was walking upright on two legs. She said she could not see the facial features of the creature, but she did note that it had no neck and it looked to be very wide shouldered. Again, approximately 7 foot tall, brown black hair. It was going through the dump again, and of course the German shepherds, she said, were having a fit, and she returned back to the house afraid. They stayed in the house, I guess, left the pit alone. The next morning, whenever they woke up, they went outside to find one of their German shepherds had been killed during the night. It had been ripped through the collar that it was chained to, actually ripped out of the collar. There was hair and flesh inside of the collar. It had been ripped out of the collar, and the neck had been broken. The other German shepherd, by the name of Missy, they said was in a very addled state. She was acting very weird, said she had done this for days, and she even went out and dug an 8-foot hole, which investigators took a photograph of. Very abnormal behavior by this dog. It's a dog they thought that was in great distress. August 21st of 1988. 10:30 p.m. The Catons and their friends were relaxing on the back porch of their home. The moon at this time was a waxing gibbous. Behind their home with strip mines, and then past the strip mines were a lot of hilly wooded areas, and then beyond that was a chicken coop that was way out off into the distance. They heard a noise out by the chicken coop, and whenever they heard this noise, one of the friends had ran over there, and he was by the name, I want to get you all names here, Philip. Philip was his name. He had ran over and got the car and shined the lights towards the creature. They saw two yellow eyes staring back at them from the chicken house. It frightened them all pretty good. Scott Peterson, he jumped in his car and pointed the headlights in the direction of the creature. He seen a large, huge, hairy creature with yellow illuminated eyes in the headlights of the vehicle. It stepped, now this is a really weird part to me. First time I've heard anybody describe anything of this nature. First time I've heard it. But he said the large creature was standing bipedal. But whenever the lights had hit the creature stepped in front of what looked like two feline-like creatures as if it were trying to protect them. But these two feline-like creatures were standing bipedal also. So I don't know if they were young ones that maybe they mistake for feline, or if they were adults. I'm not sure what these were. Or does Bigfoot run with Dogman? Is that a possibility? Is that why we're seeing them all together? Or is Bigfoot and the Dogman the same creature with just different characteristics? Some have a snout, some don't. It really makes me question a lot of things right here. Of course, it's one person's report, and you can't, base everything off one report, but it does kind of go along with what I've kind of thought. So kind of some of your all's opinions on this would be really helpful. But one of the weird things about this is it started running toward their car. Now, can you imagine? Your headlights are poking out across this old minefield in the dark, and you're looking at this old chicken coop with these yellow eyes, and this creature bipedal steps in front of two feline-looking creatures, and all of a sudden this thing is running right at you. That's pretty freaky. So he takes off. They all run into the house. And as they run into the house, they said the women had become very upset, and they were crying. They called the Stark County Sheriff's Department. While they were waiting for the deputy to arrive, the creature had actually walked to the kitchen window and was looking through the window at them. It was actually watching them. They said it was pawing at the window, scratching at the window, making very weird noises, almost like howls. They were very scared, said that they were actually afraid for their lives at this point. Started pushing on the window, and I'm sure at any moment they're just waiting for this window to break, and this creature's going to come in, and maybe the other two are with it. So you're looking at three creatures coming in the window at you. I'm sure a lot of scary things going through their minds right now. I mean, just imagine you're out there waiting on the sheriff, you're by yourself, and you get these creatures trying to get in your house. Anyways, while they're waiting, Evelyn grabbed a .22 rifle, and the others had grabbed some other guns that were in the house, and they had loaded them. I don't know why they were unloaded, but they loaded the guns, and they said they aimed the guns at the window at the creature, and the creature showed no fear of the guns and just continued looking at them, snarling and making noises. Whenever one of the men cocked the lever action of a .30-30, that's whenever it did duck out of sight, and they believe left at that point. So maybe it knew what that was. I don't know. Maybe the noise, a lot of different things that could have caused that. Now, Deputy James from the Sheriff's Department arrived 15 minutes after the creature had left. The deputy reported that when he arrived, there was a very foul stench in the area. He also reported in his report that there were very large footprints that resembled a bear, but having humanish-like toes. It was just a really bad incident. He said the family was very upset. He said they were some of them were almost in a state of shock, and he said it was hard to get the women under control. The women were wanting to leave, and they ended up leaving that night, the women. A few other people in the area experienced a lot of the same things. A 58-year-old David White. He also reported noises at his house. He was just down the road. Said he heard uncanny sounds from the woods, very uncanny noises, stuff beating and scratching on his house with howls, and some of it, he said, sounded like something trying to talk, or he described as two Indians trying to talk. He couldn't get close enough to make out what they were saying, but it sounded like a conversation between two Indians, but he couldn't make out what they were saying. It was like they were talking, maybe to each other, communicating. I'm not sure. There were many other reports came into the Stark County Sheriff's Department of hearing these sounds and reported seeing this animal off in the distance in the tree line. And at this time, the Sheriff's Department said they have no reason to doubt that these are happening, as one of their deputies was able to hear one of the noises of one of the complaints and said that it was very uncanny and unlike anything he'd ever heard in his 30 years of hunting. Later on, the reports had stopped. The creature had died down, wasn't really bothering anybody. And then again, later on in the counties surrounding where this had happened, they all started having kind of the same thing happening in the other counties, which shows it has a pretty big traveling area, I would think. So whatever this was, it's disappeared into the other counties, and as of now, they don't have any more reports of it. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't get some more reports out of here. I'm going to do some more investigating in that area and see if there's been anything else happen. But I want to kind of put this out there to y'all to kind of show you that this thing will run at your car, and it's like it will pin you in your house. This is the second time this has happened, just like in Maine. And it makes me think, if this thing knew how to get in, because I know at my grandma's, whenever we were all in her house and afraid, and we heard these noises and the scratching on the house, and it would try the doors, you would see the doorknobs move and you'd hear them rattle, and it scared us to death. We were kids, and Grandma had went through this with my mom and the kids, and it was kind of a norm to her. She was like, as long as the doors are locked and the windows are shut and we don't go outside, we're going to be fine. It was like she had this, I don't know, this calming about if you were in the house, you were fine. I mean, she did keep a .32 pistol, which she left to me. I was blessed enough to get that, to have as memories. But she kept a .32 pistol and a butcher knife beside her on the couch, and they lived out in the middle of nowhere. There was a lot of things happened at this place that I have not went into, that I've experienced, my mom experienced, and they experienced a lot of bad things. And this stuff here, to where it's coming up to the house, is a lot of the things that I experienced personally, that allows me to know that these things really happen, that I don't have to question did this really happen, because I've seen it. I was there, and I know that this happens. So it's something I wanted to throw out there to y'all. Be careful if you're out there, if you see this thing. It will rush you. It came after them, came after the people in Maine, and I think that it will harm you, and I think it has harmed people, and I think it has killed. What it is, I don't know. What do you guys think it is? Is it Bigfoot? Is it a werewolf? Is it a dog man? What do you think it is? But I want to put that out there to you guys. Hey, I appreciate each and every one of you watching. Be safe if you're out there, and God bless.